This is Andy Gutierrez from StarWars.com, and you are listening to Coffee with Kenobi with Dan Z. This is the podcast you're looking for.
This is James Arnold Taylor, and you're listening to Coffee with Kenobi. I have a good feeling about this.
Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome back to CWK Live. I'm your host, Dan Z. Thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. Thank you for your patience as we muddled through last week. Of course, Facebook was down, but CWK Live still came to you. And of course, we're normally here as we are right now on Facebook at facebook.com/Coffee with Kenobi. Again, if there's ever an issue where it doesn't work out, then you can be sure to find us on the YouTube channel at 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. By the way, thank you, Terry. I noticed that Terry pointed out to me that on our Coffee with Kenobi main feed that I've been still saying 8 o'clock p.m. Whoops, it's 7 o'clock p.m. Central Standard Time. So here we are, and I'm thrilled to be talking Star Wars with each and every one of you. LJ is here. Welcome back to the show, LJ. And by the way, Ross is busy with some other things going on, but he told me he's pretty sure that his list is going to be just like yours, LJ. So there you go. The pressure is on, my friend. We also have our other friends here with us. Terry King is here. Hello, Terry. Good to have you, buddy. Thanks again for the heads up on that announcement at the end of the regular podcast. Nicholas is here. He says, hope you had a visionary day. Well, we did. It was a nice, relaxing day at the Zare household. Very happy. Speaking of happy, Colby is here. Hello, Colby. Brian says, this is the Monday entertainment you were looking for. Well, thank you, Brian. Good to have you, bud. Yes, Mary points out something very important. Congratulations to Mita on her wedding. Congratulations to the happy couple. The newlyweds are here. Mita, happy wedding. Happy. It's not even your anniversary yet, but it's going to be in a year. So congratulations on your marriage. I'm so happy for you and your husband. Mary, happy Monday to you. Mason is here, of course, piloting my personal Facebook account. Hello, Mason Z. Blake Weaver, what is up, man? Good to see you. Good. Thanks for posting your stuff from the Orlando. Was it a toy convention? Thanks for posting that in the CWK Cafe. We always like to see that. Hello, Jason. Good to have you. Excuse me. And Amber, good evening to you as well. Minta, of course, we were very happy and excited for you. This is such a cool, amazing thing. So very, very good. Well, let's do this. Let's talk about what is going to be on the show tonight. Got some fun stuff for you as always. We're going to give your top 5 favorite moments from Star Wars Visions: The Duel. We're going to look at some Star Wars news and, of course, Star Wars trivia. We were supposed to do trivia last week, and I actually forgot about it. So, fortunately, that is back and ready to roll. But tonight's show, of course, top 5 favorite moments from Star Wars Visions episode, The Duel, the first episode. Now, they all dropped at the same day. So we didn't do the normal where we look at each one every week like we do with The Bad Batch or The Mandalorian. But hey, we're just going to go through all of these, every week. And then as we get closer and closer to the Book of Boba Fett coming out, then we'll be transitioning to that too. And who knows what other kind of bonus things will pop up in the meantime. So right now, let's take a look at what is brewing in the world of Star Wars this week.
And now, let's see what's brewing in the Star Wars universe this week.
Yes, what is brewing in the Star Wars universe this week? Well, I know that you're all looking at your calendars for summer of 2023 because the Halcyon, the Galactic Star Cruiser, the 2-night adventure at Walt Disney World Resort, the Star Wars Hotel, as it is also known, Coffee with Kenobi and MEI and Mouse Fan Traveler are teaming up for the summer of 2023 for you to join me on the Galactic Star Cruiser in Walt Disney World. The exact date is coming soon because Disney has not yet released the dates for the summer of 2023 because it's quite a bit off. But if you heard last week or if you joined us on our CWK Live, then you know the reason we're not doing it next summer when it opens is because we know so many of you are going to be attending Star Wars Celebration in Anaheim. And I thought that was too big of an ask to save up money for Celebration, which we waited an extra year for because of COVID last year. So I didn't think it was fair to plan for Celebration and the Galactic Star Cruiser in the same summer. So we're putting it off. It gives you a lot more time to save up. I know it is a hefty sum, but when you're working with us, myself and MEI and Mouse Fan Travel, Becky Mankin and her team, you know you're going to get the best price possible, as well as a no cost, no obligation quote. So there you have it. Don't forget to save your pennies. Would love to see you all in the summer of 2023. And again, as soon as I know dates, you will be the first to know as well. Okay, let's take a look at some exciting news with merchandise. What am I doing there? Let me get rid of me. By me. Okay, so I think maybe the biggest announcement is that we've got a couple of books that are coming out that are actually, well, I shouldn't say actually, they're not the High Republic related. A lot of the new publishing has been the High Republic, which is fine with me. I love the High Republic. We've had a blast looking at it and covering it. But Adam Christopher was teasing on Twitter that he had some big news. So here it is, Shadow of the Sith, June 8th, 2022. Now, why is this a big deal? The reason this is a big deal is because it's about Lando Calrissian and Luke Skywalker returning in this essential novel set between Return of the Jedi and The Force Awakens. So remember the big story, one of the big stories in The Rise of Skywalker had to do with, it was actually mentioned by Lando Calrissian, that Lando and Luke went on an adventure. Well, this is going to tell the story of that adventure. I will read the description for you from StarWars.com. It is, the Empire is dead. Nearly 2 decades on from the Battle of Endor, the tattered remains of Palpatine's forces have fled to the farthest reaches of the galaxy. But for the heroes of the New Republic, danger and loss are ever-present companions, even in this newly forged era of peace. Jedi Master Luke Skywalker is haunted by visions of the dark side, foretelling an ominous secret growing somewhere in the depths of space on a dead world called Exegol. The disturbance in the Force is undeniable, and Luke's worst fears are confirmed when his old friend Lando Calrissian comes to him with reports of a new Sith menace. After his daughter was stolen from his arms, Lando searched the stars for any trace of his lost child. But every new rumor only leads to dead ends and fading hopes until he crosses paths with Ochi of Bestoon, a Sith assassin tasked with kidnapping a young girl. Ochi's true motives remain shrouded to Luke and Lando, for on a junkyard moon, a mysterious envoy of the Sith Eternal has bequeathed a sacred blade to the assassin, promising that it will give him answers to the questions that have haunted him since the Empire fell. So as Ochi meets Rey and her parents to the edge of the galaxy, Luke and Lando race into the mystery of the Sith's lingering shadow and aid a young family running for their lives. So, wow, right? This is going to tell us about Ochi of Bestoon and more about that character, who really didn't have much of an impact for me in The Rise of Skywalker because there was no context. Well, now we're going to get that context. We're going to see Luke 20 years after Return of the Jedi teaming up with Lando Calrissian. So that's going to be phenomenal, right? This is, of course, well before anything happens from The Force Awakens. But on the timeline, if you look at the Star Wars book or other books that have Star Wars timelines in them, you'll kind of see where all our heroes are on this. So it's really, it's going to be fun. I mean, really looking forward to that. Again, that comes out June 28th, and it is available for pre-order now. Blake says, I've never been so excited for a book ever. I cannot wait for that. That timeline I needed fleshed out with my OT heroes. So you know what? I'm excited for that as well, dude. I think that's going to be amazing. All right, so the next one is called Brotherhood. This is by Mike Chen. I will read a much shorter excerpt or intro to this one. But here's what it says. Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker must stem the tide of the raging Clone Wars and forge a new bond as Jedi Knights. Let's see, where is the money shot here? Okay, amid the brewing chaos, Anakin Skywalker rises to the rank of Jedi Knight, despite the mandate that Obi-Wan travel alone and his former master's insistence that he listen this time. Anakin's headstrong determination means nothing can stop him from crashing the party and bringing along a promising but conflicted youngling. So there you go. Once a Padawan to Obi-Wan, Anakin now finds himself on equal but uncertain footing with the man who raised him. To overcome the threat they face, they must grow beyond master and apprentice. They must stand together as brothers. Well, that's a pretty cool transitional thing. In the literary world, we call this a Bildungsroman, a coming-of-age story. And this would be the coming-of-age of how the two of them go from master and apprentice to equals. And that is called Star Wars Brotherhood by Mike Chen. That one comes out May 10th, 2022. Who's interested in that one? Then we've got Star Wars Stories of Jedi and Sith. Mary says they both sound amazing. I agree. Minta says it's a great way to tie into the Clone Wars. I think so too. I think that'll be fun. Hey, Chris, what's up? He says late arrival again. Hello there, Chris. Good to have you, buddy. All right, so let's talk about Star Wars Stories of Jedi and Sith. Now, this is a collection. The brave Jedi, the devious Sith. These iconic heroes and villains embody the struggle between light and dark that is at the very heart of Star Wars. In this exciting middle-grade anthology, 10 acclaimed authors imagine all new tales for some of the saga's most popular characters, from Luke Skywalker to Darth Vader, from Obi-Wan Kenobi to Asajj Ventress and beyond, complete with beautiful spot illustrations, epic standoffs, cunning plots, courageous action, and ruthless anger are all here in the showcase of the enduring power of one of the greatest movie sagas of all time. We've got, we've got some of the authors. We've got Roseanne Brown, Sarwat Chadha, Delilah S. Dawson, Tessa Gratton, Michael Koji, Sam Maggs, Michael Morrissey, Alex Segura, Vera Strange, and Karen Strong. So that one is going to come out June 7th. And then the last one we have here is Star Wars Padawan by Kirsten White. That one comes out July 26th. Obi-Wan struggles with his place in the Force as a young Padawan in this coming-of-age adventure. So this one, let's see, I'll read a quick excerpt from this. Obi-Wan Kenobi really wants to be a good Padawan, the best Padawan even. But that's feeling more and more impossible with his new master, Qui-Gon Jinn. All of Obi-Wan's friends are off training to be real Jedi, getting mission experience while he's still on Coruscant, practicing his forms and sitting in silent contemplation. Ever since Qui-Gon's former master Dooku left the Order, it feels like Qui-Gon has been too busy trying to connect with the Force or arguing with the Jedi Council to properly train his Padawan. And there's a little bit more description to this, and all of them on StarWars.com, but this sounds like a good one because we're going to get novels with Obi-Wan just becoming, trying to get to know Qui-Gon Jinn. So very, very cool. That's July 26th. 2022. Mita says, I haven't been this excited for a good series in a long time. Yeah, this is good. This is good, right? Some of our familiar characters. As much as I love the High Republic, and I love the High Republic, I know a lot of you do as well, it'll be cool to revisit some of these characters. To me, it's always important if you're going to fill in this kind of stuff, that it's essential storytelling to the overall growth of the characters and not just exciting books that don't necessarily advance the story. So I hope they advance the story in some way, shape, or form. Blake says, I wonder if we'll see the Kenobi show around the time of this novel. Well, that's an interesting question. I guess that's very possible. I don't know. All right. So next up on the Disney Parks blog, as we know, the Disney Wish is coming out. It's Disney's newest cruise line that is going to be debuting next summer, the summer of Star Wars Celebration, where there's a hyperspace lounge, a Star Wars themed bar / I don't know if it's a restaurant, but it's definitely a bar or lounge area. But kids will be able to go in there during the day, and then adults in the evenings. So families during the day, adults in the evenings. But they just announced something else that's going to be happening Star Wars related on the ship, and you can see the gorgeous images here, the concept art. You can see Rey talking to a child. There are some porgs in a little cage, and you've got Chewbacca there. You've got a Dianoga looking down, and this is a description from the Disney Parks blog. It says, the peculiar creatures and legendary characters of the Star Wars galaxy will take center stage at Star Wars Cargo Bay. The first of its kind immersive experience will place kids in the important role of creature handlers as they learn to manage a mischievous menagerie of exotic beings from across the galaxy, including a porg, lothcat, wart, and more. Now, a wart, if you look in the middle of your picture, there is a cast member walking out, and over her right shoulder is a creature that looks like a slug with antennas. That is a wart, by the way. Okay. Throughout the cruise, they'll use augmented reality-enabled data pads to track and study the creatures on a series of special assignments. But there's more to this job than meets the Dianoga eye. The new crew will actually be joining an important mission to deliver a pair of secret stowaways, Rey and Chewbacca, back to the Resistance. During the interactive Star Wars Creature Challenge experience, the newly minted caretakers will be put to the test as they help feed the lifelike creatures and encounter some of the most dangerous beings in the galaxy. When things go awry, they need to call on the expertise of Rey and Chewbacca and even channel the Force to secure the ship from destruction. Well, there you go. How cool is that, right? Mary says, unfortunately, we're all too old for the Oceaneers Club. I know. But I think when you first get on the ship, before it actually disembarks, you're able to kind of cruise through some of that stuff. Mita says, age is just a number. We're all kids deep down. Exactly. Well, Mason, you are going to be just the right age for this, buddy. So maybe you'll have to be the special CWK correspondent to let us know all about that. You'll have to let me know if you are up for that challenge, Mason. But it looks like a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, so I had this video here ready to go. It shows you some clips from the Disney Oceaneers Club that we just talked about. But the way this my software is hooked up, I'm not able to show you that video. But if you go on YouTube, Designing the Disney Wish, New Experiences for Kids Disney Cruise Line, you'll be able to see that video. I believe it's 3 minutes into the actual video itself. And you can see some of those clips right there. So be sure to check that out. And of course, with the Disney Wish Cruise Line, as well as the Galactic Star Cruiser, be sure to check out MEI and Mouse Fan Travel for all of your travel needs. They are the official travel partner of Coffee with Kenobi. It is a no-cost, no-obligation quote, and you'll get the best price possible and help out me and Coffee with Kenobi in the process. So everybody wins on that one. All right, so cool. I'm excited. I mean, there's some really cool stuff, right? It's just crazy to me. We've got all these opportunities that are Star Wars related, and there's nobody better at giving you that entertainment like the Disney Corporation. So this is going to be awesome. This is going to be so awesome. All right. Speaking of awesome, it's time to look at our top fives. I know that LJ is very excited about this. In fact, he texted me a little bit ago and said he's got a top 7. Now that we don't have a top 7, we have a top 5, but you can certainly share your honorable mentions. We are, of course, talking about top 5 moments from Star Wars Visions episode The Duel. Cool. Top 5 moments from Star Wars Visions The Duel. Everybody's got your list ready. Let's go ahead and kick this thing off. Number 5 for me is the tone. I feel like the overall tone of this episode is, I don't know, I just like the atmosphere, the feel. It's very atmospheric and very layered, even, through an animated feature, which is predominantly black and white for specific storytelling reasons and creative artistic reasons. It just creates a very heavy atmosphere. So the tone of this, I think, is gorgeous. It feels like Kurosawa. I know that everyone talks about that, and they talk about that on the making of too, but that's because it's true. It feels like a Kurosawa Star Wars story, which of course inspired the original Star Wars altogether. Number 5 for Minta, the choreography of the story, taking the grayscale and adding some color, really made it unique. Absolutely. 5 for Murray, the black and white animation with the pops of color are wonderful. So the three of us all have pretty much the same thing. How cool. LJ, the boiling pot, knowing that the droid needed to be fixed by the time the pot boiled, added a countdown to the episode and extra tension. I like that as well, LJ. That's pretty good. Brian, oh, look at this. The black and white animation with highlights of color really drew me to the story and focused the action with bursts of color. This is so fun. This is so fun that everybody has this. Number 5 for Nicholas, the lightsabers. The umbrella-like lightsaber was unique, and this is also one of the few duels with only red lightsabers in Star Wars TV or movies. Nicholas, I hadn't thought of that. That is a good catch, my friend. Good catch. Amber, the red lightsaber blades. Yes, especially the umbrella one. Terry, number 5, a treadwheel droid in another farming community. Oh, good catch. Never thought about the farming connection there. Blake, the opening title gave it the retro Japanese cinema feel off the bat. Thanks. And Blake, I know you were a huge anime fan. We talked about that on previous CWK Live, so good catch. Jason, number 5, the intensity of the fight choreography, especially the duel between Ronin and the bandit leader. Yes, the bandit leader. So cool. Mason's number 5 is when the Empire first attacks. They show up in that massive transport, lower the big hatch, and out come these anime versions of stormtroopers, and it gets pretty intense pretty quickly. So Mason put that down for his number 5, the Empire attacks. Let's go to number 4. Number 4 for me is the Revenge of the Sith nods. So when the Sith bandit and the Ronin, the nameless hero, are fighting, they're on this log floating in the water, which is very reminiscent of the Revenge of the Sith, but over the lava. And then when the Sith bandit is hitting the waterfall with her lightsaber blade, it reminded me of Darth Maul and Qui-Gon Jinn in The Phantom Menace. And this is confirmed on both when we had some of the creators on Coffee with Kenobi a few weeks ago, as well as on the making of on Disney Plus as well. So when you're going into Disney Plus and you're watching on the episode, if you go over to the right and look at extras, you're going to see the making of all these episodes too. So I like all those Revenge of the Sith nods. Even the music, as Mason pointed out to me earlier today, is reminiscent of Revenge of the Sith. So cool. Number 4 for Minta. The young boy was a temporary leader. He took charge and acted like he had done it for years. Yeah, that was very brave. And then they show that quick sequence of the father laying down, who's clearly not feeling well. Terry, number 4, the musical introduction of the villain. Didn't seem so... It gave me like kind of chills. It was almost like scary, that epic choral motif. It made it seem like this was bad news. So good catch. Good catch, Terry. Number 4 for Mary, the umbrella lightsaber, like nothing we've ever seen before in Star Wars that I know about. I agree. It seemed brand new to me. And Rebels, one of the Sith Inquisitors had like a lightsaber that acted as a helicopter, but it wasn't like this. It was very different. So yeah, this is very unique. Nicholas, the art style. The art is mostly grayscale, made of small streaks, giving the impression of a pencil sketch, which was brilliant, right? Yeah, that was neat. All done on computers, but you can never tell. Number 4 for Jason. Ronan's astromech droid firing off what looked like whistling birds. Oh yeah, it was like whistling birds. I didn't think about that. That's a good catch. Let's see. I'm gonna try to change this here. Sorry, just adjusting my camera on the fly. There we go. All right, cool. Oh, look, and you can see more of my droid from the Droid Depot as well. Let's see. LJ, number 4, the reluctant, cowardly tavern keeper. It's a trope in the samurai movies slash spaghetti westerns. But I thought it was such a cool touch. The tavern keeper's role usually gives the hero the lay of the land and offers some exposition, and this was no exception. I like that too. It kind of set the tone. Very certainly Kurosawa, but also Sergio Leone as well. Number 4 for Blake. The A New Hope poster on a building in one of the opening shots. So much love shown to my beloved original trilogy. I didn't notice that. And Mason and I rewatched it today, and we paused it on something while we were writing some things down and taking notes. And sure enough, on the left is the original poster. And I noticed the Darth Vader helmet, and then Mason said, look, it's New Hope. There's Luke. So Mason does it again, points out something that I didn't catch as well. So yeah, that's a very cool one. It's pretty early on when the Empire shows up in the village, and there's like a close-up of a trooper. If you hit pause and you look to the left, you'll see that poster. Amber's number 4 is the umbrella saber, definitely. Brian, number 4, same as Amber, 3 words, spinning lightsaber umbrella. Yes. LJ, my boy, deserves a gold medal for his number 4. Good catch. Yes, that was a good catch. High fives all around. Number 4 for Mason is when the droid shows up that looks like a Death Star droid. When that droid shows up holding a heavy laser blasting rotating weapon, almost like a Gatling gun. Mason thought that was cool. I thought that was a really cool touch too, and the sound was really powerful on that. LJ says, Blake, have to channel my inner Ross. Exactly. Well, it's so far, so good, buddy. So far, so good. Okay, Mason gave his number 4, so we're going to jump into number 3. Number 3 for me is the Sith reveal. When the Sith bandit shows up, it's very dramatic. There's this platform, and she is revealed, and there's that epic music that was just referred to, and you just know it's going to be bad news. And you see the mask that covers her mouth. By the way, speaking of masks, did you know that the Ronin, that thing below on his chin, is not his beard, but it's a metal jaw? Did you know that? I didn't really catch that when I watched it, but hopefully y'all got to hear my interview with Emma Candon on Coffee with Kenobi last week. It's so good. She's amazing, a great speaker. We just clicked right away talking about this book. She's got some great insights, so be sure to listen to that. But in fact, after you read Ronin, which comes out, I believe, tomorrow, you're not going to look at this episode the same way again, but that's a good thing. It's going to add a lot of layers. So I'm being very careful with what I say because I don't want to reveal anything from the novel, but the novel is great. You're going to love it. There's a lot of stuff about this Sith bandit, but I love the reveal in the episode itself. Meantime, the umbrella lightsaber, never seen anything like it, and possibly the most unique style yet. Does it come in blue? Good question. Can't imagine a Jedi would build something like that, but hey, maybe someday at Galaxy's Edge, right? Amber, the reveal of the Ronin pulling out a red lightsaber, that was pretty epic. LJ's number 3, the umbrella lightsaber. It was a fun and inventive way to introduce a lightsaber in a way that only animation could deliver effectively. If they tried to pull it off in live action, fans would hate it. Probably, but it really worked well here, didn't it? For sure. Number 3 for Nicholas. The droid design, we've never seen an astromech with a straw hat before. It also had a deleted Luke on Tatooine field with a similar hat. It looks so cool. Yes, I agree, especially some of the deleted scenes too. That hat reminded me very much of that. Ooh, I rhymed. Brian's number 3, the return of the mended astromech and entering the town to fire a dozen rockets. My wife drinks a lot of tea, so I now wait for an astromech to pop around the corner when she pours her tea. Ooh, I'll have to remember that when Deanna's making tea. Good catch. Number 3 for Mary. The Tusken Raider doing the same raising of the spear over his head just like they did in A New Hope over Luke. Yeah, even the same exact sound effect too. Number 3 for Blake. The animation. I'm not a fan of CGI in my anime, but everything they did with it this short was masterful. Watch any anime that attempts the same animation process and you see a difference. Okay, noted. I will take note of that, sir. Mary says, Terry, my honorable mention, not sure which one had the high ground. Yeah, I know. I was thinking about that too. It kind of ties into my number 4. Number 3 for Mason is the Sith Bandit herself. We called her the Sith Assassin. Sometimes she's referred to as the Sith Bandit. She has a name. And I know the first 5 chapters are out there of Ronin, so you'll discover that if you haven't already. I won't spoil it here on the show. But again, you're going to be blown away. You're going to be blown away by this book. So that Mason's number 3 is similar to mine, but his is just the Sith Bandit overall. My number 2, we're going to go into number 2. The tea kettle. LJ mentioned this earlier, but to me, the plot of mechanism that says, hey, as soon as this tea kettle is done, it's about to go down. And it's just a great timing of the battle. I love the kind of the strategy, the style, the storytelling trope. It wasn't even a trope, which is very clever. Like, this is a device, this is a plot device we're going to use, this seemingly innocent tea kettle. As soon as that goes off, you know that there's going to be something important happening in the fight, and it did. I just thought it was a great plot device. I loved it. I almost put it for my number 1. LJ says, can confirm Blake Weaver is spot on. There you go. Number 2 for me, to the Sith Bandit. Just the reveal alone gave me chills down my spine, especially when she went after the other warriors. Yeah, that was pretty epic. I would not want to face her. Number 2 for Brian, when the Ronin uses the Force to stop the blade between his hands. Yeah, and at that point we didn't know it was going to be a Sith. We just assumed it was a Jedi, I guess. So that was epic. Number 2 for LJ, the music during the duel. Japanese flavor with a hint of Duel of the Fates underneath. It made for an interesting, fresh take on the music of Star Wars while keeping it familiar. Good catch, and I hope we get to see that music on Spotify someday, or CD, or a vinyl, of course. Terry's number 2, the whistling birds from the droid. Yes, yes. Blake's number 2, the lightsaber design. I'd love to see more crazy designs in canon. The last time we had the same reaction to the Umbrella Saber was Mullen in 99. Yep, that's right. Exactly. Nicholas, the village. I have so many questions about the village, such as how the child becomes a chief, and why all the defenders look the way they are off-worlders. I hope that book reveals more about them. Well, Nicholas, stay tuned, buddy. Stay tuned, for sure. Mary's number 2, opening his cloak to show all of the red kyber crystals and then giving the boy one he just recovered from the other Sith warrior's saber. Yes, that's really... Man. I gotta keep my secrets. I don't want to spoil anything. Jason, number 2, references to familiar Star Wars creatures. Sullustan, Trandoshan, Tusken Raider, the reused dude, and even the Imperial probe droid and protocol droid. And you notice the Doug that was driving that probe droid around too. That was pretty neat. Really cool. Let's see. Amber's next one is the Revenge of the Sith nods as well. And number 2 for Mason is the black and white. Lightsaber. Mason, feel free to run down here and tell me what that means, because for some reason I can't. We talked about it and I don't remember, but I'm assuming you're talking. Oh, never mind. Never mind. I got it, buddy. I figured it out. So what Mason likes about the episode is that the entire episode is in black and white, which makes the stunning contrast of the red lightsaber being pulled out of the actual hilt itself, and so it really stands out, right? The scabbard of the lightsaber. Wow, it's like I've never done a show before or talked in front of people. Sorry about that. So yeah, the way that the red lightsaber contrasts against the black and white of everything else in the episode. So good call, Mason. Sorry, buddy. Number 2. That's yours. All right. Time for number one. Your number one favorite moment from the duel is, for me, it's the ignition of that lightsaber that Mason just talked about. That, let's see who else talked about it. Mary. No, that was the cloak. Number one, who else talked about it? I don't remember. Well, someone talked about it. As soon as that blade is ignited, we saw that in the trailer. You knew it was going to be a powerful moment. And when I rewatched it again, I almost put the tea kettle as my number one, but this one just really stood out to me. It's just very powerful and dramatic and just very, again, classic samurai or Western feel to it. And it was really cool. It made you think that as scary as that Sith bandit is, Ronan's scarier, for sure. All right, number one for Blake. My number one was what Jason just mentioned. I love seeing all the familiar creatures in this episode. If they don't release a Trandoshan Black series with dual wielding katanas, Hasbro is crazy. Well, I don't know what they're going to reveal, but I feel like that would be awesome. I would love that too. Minta is number one, the Ronin. He kept his temperament from start to finish. Even when he fought the Sith bandit, he managed to defeat her with ease. Yes, and then you almost wonder if he was playing possum with that stuff with the log too, but that worked out really, really well, for sure. Okay. Number one for Terry. The example of how to overcome the high ground, patience, and timely misdirection. Yes, that was very clever. It was very clever. Number one for Nicholas, the plot twist. I was not expecting Ronan to have a red lightsaber. It made me wonder if perhaps he was some kind of light side Sith, but so far I've only appeared in Star Wars video games. It's a great question. I like that question. Mary's number one, the astromech to the rescue. Just as in all the movies, the droids are the most important characters. There you go. How fun. That's fun. Let's see. Number one for LJ, I'm just a wanderer. The Ronin was amazing. When he unsheathed that lightsaber, I guess it broke and can't be turned off. I audibly gasped. I knew then that this was the Star Wars anime mashup I was looking for. I mean, pretty much it's the iconic, quintessential moment, more than maybe any part of any episode in Star Wars Visions, is seeing that lightsaber revealed. It's like the perfect combo of Star Wars and anime. So that is a great one for you, LJ. Great one for number one. Number one for Jason. The animation, especially the use of black and white, totally blew me away and immediately drew me into the story. Me too. Me too, man. Amber's number one is Ronan as a character. Yes, Ronan is an awesome character. I'd love to see a figure of the Ronan someday. LJ says, Blake, the Trandoshan Black series is in my honorable mentions. Oh, cool. Yeah, we're going to get to that for sure. Then one for Brian, the RA-7 droid with a rotary cannon. We went crazy when he started spraying blaster bolts everywhere. Wasn't that fun? I love that they're able to kind of play in the sandbox and repurpose these iconic images and characters and ideas into anime. It's so good. Number one for Mason is when Ronan kills the Sith assassin. The way it's done, the clever trickery of putting that lightsaber in the statue, and then she runs in and thinks she's defeated him, but nope, she did not. A surprising twist, very, very cleverly done. Again, this stuff with the water is very symbolic and beautiful. Be sure again to look at my conversation with Emma Candun on Coffee with Kenobi, where we talk about that and a lot of other moments from not only this episode, but from the novel that is coming out tomorrow. I'm telling you, you're going to love it. If you like Star Wars and anime, it's just very heavy into the Japanese folklore, and it's just so cool to read Star Wars that is not something that's completely familiar. They even take some familiar ideas and change them for Star Wars Visions, and I'm telling you, it's very captivating. It's very captivating. You are going to love it. All right, speaking of you're going to love it, as you know, since we've been talking about this, next week's Top 5, we're going to continue looking at Visions. Top 5 moments from Star Wars Visions, not the Duel. Oh, did I really not download the next one? It's from Tatooine Rhapsody. Yeah, from Tatooine Rhapsody. I'm pretty sure that sound is going to come up, I think. I think that was a pretty fun one, so be sure to... Wait, let me fix this for you. That's driving me nuts. There we go. Top 5 moments from Star Wars Visions Tatooine Rhapsody. That's what I get for trying to do too many things at once. All right, very good. So get sure to rewatch that. Get ready to tap your toes to Tatooine Rhapsody, and that will be our next week's top 5. So How about that, everybody? Let's see. Honorable mentions. LJ has the color scheme of the episode as a whole, monochrome with just hints of color where needed. For emphasis, it really gave a Kurosawa vibe to it. The character designs, I thought the bandit stormtrooper and the bandit leader designs were epic, and the Trandoshan with the dual katanas needs to be a Black Series immediately. No complaints here. Blake, I literally just watched that episode before we got on. I love it. Yeah, it's pretty awesome. It's pretty awesome. So that's going to be next week's top 5. But now it is time for you know what. You have waited patiently. It is time for some Star Wars trivia. Okay, so you know the rules for Star Wars trivia. We've got a few minutes here, so we're going to play a couple of rounds. Please don't Google anything. Please don't look at anything of any resource books like, the Star Wars book. Speaking of resource books, Blake says, I think me and LJ are connected like Kylo and Rey. You might be. You just might be. Dyads in the Force. You are. Very good. Don't forget, by the way, the Star Wars Encyclopedia is coming out soon. It's actually not November 2nd anymore. It got pushed back. So I need to change the time on that, or the date on that. In fact, I will tell you while we are chatting here when the Star Wars Character Encyclopedia is coming out. We've got a new date for it, and that is November 23rd. So put a 3 behind that too, November 23rd, just in time for your Thanksgiving shopping with the Star Wars Character Encyclopedia Updated and Expanded Edition, my second book for Disney and Lucasfilm. I am very, very excited about it. But that's not one you would be able to use for trivia either, because that would be cheating, of course. Brian says, my permanent answer tonight is power generator. Fair enough. You from last time. Very good. Minta says, still worth the wait. Well, thank you so much, friend. I appreciate that. I think you're going to really like it. Mary confirms that they are dyads in the Force, so now we know. Colby says, another book for Yoda to hold up on my bookshelf. That's right. Be sure to look in the CWK Cafe. Colby posted a pretty cool new bookshelf that he has. So some books. He's got Yoda holding up books for him in his Star Wars library. Okay. Question number 1. Who falls victim to Luke Skywalker's Jedi mind trip? Boy, I need to get more sleep or something. Who falls victim to Luke Skywalker's Jedi mind trick in Jabba's palace? Hey, you know what? Everybody makes mistakes, right? Everybody has those days. Ooh, what's that from? Who falls victim to Jedi Knight Luke Skywalker's mind trick in Jabba's palace? First answer we have is Bib Fortuna. We've got Bib Fortuna, Bib. Okay. Anybody else? Anybody else want to weigh in on this one? Mason says Bib. LJ says Bib. Amber says Bib. Pretty much everybody says Bib. I'll just help you. It is Bib Fortuna, of course. That was a very easy one. Very easy one. What about this one? This one might be a bit more of a head scratcher. We shall see. Who's the first Rebel pilot to fly into the second Death Star? Who's the first Rebel pilot to fly into the second Death Star? Ooh, a tricky question, I think. Who is the first Rebel pilot to fly into the second Death Star? Anybody know? Nick says Wedge. LJ says Wedge with a question mark. Brian says Wedge. Blake says Wedge. Minta says Wedge. Okay, anybody else? Any other guesses about who the second... I'm sorry, who's the first pilot to fly into the second Death Star? Jason says Lando. Terry says Lando and 9num. Mary says she's going to go along with the gang and say Wedge. Mason says Wedge as well. Anybody else? I'll give you a little more time. Not much. Who's the first Rebel pilot to fly into the second Death Star? Colby says Luke. Interesting. Well, the first Rebel pilot to fly into the second Death Star is Wedge Antilles. Yes. All right. Amber, you're probably thinking of... Wexley's mom. Forgot the name. Oh, that's a good call. Nora is her name. Nora Wexley. I hadn't thought about that. That would have been cool. But no, it is actually Wedge. All right, this one is a little bit more unique. So this is more of a from the real world, but Star Wars related, of course. What life-size Star Wars vehicle fetched $135,000 as the charitable auction item in the 1996 Neiman Marcus Christmas book? Wow, I would have saved my pennies back in 1996 had I known this. What life-size Star Wars vehicle fetched $135,000 as a charitable auction item in the 1996 Neiman Marcus Christmas book? Any ideas on that one? This is a very interesting one. Minta says Luke's Landspeeder. I'll read it again. Nick says Landspeeder as well. Blake says no idea, but I'll say an X-Wing. The question is, what life-size Star Wars vehicle fetched $135,000 as the charitable auction item in the 1996 Neiman Marcus Christmas book? LJ says a Landspeeder. Jason says a Landspeeder. LJ says total guess, no problem. Amber says a Landspeeder. Terry says a speeder bike. Mary's not sure. I'll read it one more time before I tell you the answer. So if anybody else hasn't answered yet and you want to, just take a guess. What life-size Star Wars vehicle fetched $135,000 as a charitable auction item in the 1996 Neiman Marcus Christmas book? Mason said, how should I know that I was born in 2013? Oh boy, that is good. Mason is cultivating his sense of humor from his father and his mother, so that's going pretty well, I would say. So the answer to what Star Wars life-size vehicle fetched $135,000 as a charitable auction item in the 1996 Neiman Marcus Christmas book? An X-Wing fighter. So I think there's only one person who said an X-Wing, and that was Blake Weaver. So good job, Blake. Nice work, buddy. Nice work. Alrighty. Let's see. Let me take a look here. I want to make sure that I don't ask you something that's too easy. Okay. Interesting. That's too easy. These are all too easy. I'm not going to ask you an easy one. I mean, you're too smart. I need to give you trickier ones than that. Ooh, I should just start going through the Star Wars book. Haha. And ask you questions from there. Okay. Who informs Governor Tarkin that the Death Star has entered the Alderaan system? Blake says, I am one with the Force and the Force is with me. Well, there you go. Who informs Governor Tarkin that the Death Star has entered the Alderaan system? Well, this is a tricky one, for sure. I'm tempted to really mess with these sound effects. Oh, okay, I will if you want me to. Who informs Governor Tarkin that the Death Star has entered the Alderaan system? We have the first guess is from Nicholas. He says, Mahdi. LJ says, Admiral Ozzel. Mason says it's Blake Weaver. Jason says, Imperial officer dude with a bad haircut. Blake says, Admiral Mahdi. Brian says Admiral Mahdi. Blake says a British guy. Colby says Alexander Hamilton. My name is... I'm not going to sing because I want people to watch the show. And by the way, if you haven't done so already, of course, share this with your friends that you're watching it. We have an amazing group here at Coffee with Kenobi on Facebook Live. And I would love to have more and more people join us because we've got some fun stuff going on. It's sure. Mary says, ditto on Jason's answer. The question again. Who informs Governor Tarkin that the Death Star has entered the Alderaan system? The answer is Admiral Mahdi. So if you guess Admiral Mahdi and not Blake Weaver or a British guy or an Imperial officer dude with a bad haircut, then you are correct. You are correct. It was Admiral Mahdi. Okay. Got some more. Whose first words to Queen Amidala are, "We are brave, Your Highness"? Whose first words to Queen Amidala are, "We are brave, Your Highness"? Woo. Interesting. This will probably be the last one. Whose first words to Queen Amidala are, "We are brave, Your Highness"? The first words. I really like this question a lot. Nick says Sabe. Terry says Padme. Minta says Padme. Jason says Padme as well. Mary says Sabe. LJ says Padme. So we're going to rhyme. Whatever the answer is, it's going to rhyme for sure. Brian says Padme. Anybody else? Anybody else? Question again. Whose first words to Queen Amidala are, "We are brave, Your Highness"? Stumped, even though I can hear the line in my head, says Blake. Amber says Padme. And Mason, we gotta start rewatching all these movies again to get some of these facts straight in our heads, for sure. It's probably been a while since you've seen some of them. Interesting. All right, so again, whose first words to Queen Amidala are, "We are brave, Your Highness"? Any ideas? So the answer to this one is, Mason says Padme or maybe even Ross. Maybe even Ross Holloway. Well, the answer is Padme Amidala. Now, this is a tricky one because, of course, Padme is the queen. But this is when she is preserving her identity. And sometimes a decoy is dressed up like Queen Amidala so Padme can run around and explore and do Padme-type adventurous things and relative safety compared to the queen herself, because you know the hijinks that the Trade Federation tries to pull against Padme and her people. So, nice job, everybody. That is Star Wars Trivia. We're going to have some fun stuff for Star Wars Trivia coming up in the near future, for sure. But if you want to see more trivia or have any other ideas for fun things you want to see on Coffee with Kenobi Live, please email me, danz@coffeewithkenobi.com. All right, let's go ahead and jump into Ask Dan Z. All right, it's time to Ask Dan Z. Now, if you're going to ask me about the new James Bond movie, I haven't seen that yet. I really want to see it, so that will come in the near future. Have any of you got a chance to see that, or what have you been up to this weekend? Let us know. I was very fortunate this weekend. I got to go back to my alma mater where I graduated from high school many years ago, and I was awarded the Alumni Achievement Award. There was a very nice dinner and an auction, and I was a part of the entire experience. I had my beautiful wife, Deanna, with me. My mom, my brother, dear friends of ours were there as well. It was a really great night. There's a video from that event I'll post later in the CWK Cafe so that you can check that out. But it was really cool. You know, I very much believe in giving back and empowering people to embrace who they are and be the best version of themselves. And being able to do that with education, Star Wars is the best. So there you go. When's the next CWK film commentary? That's a good question. We did one for New Opening. We had a great time doing it, and we just kind of forgot about it, but we did pull names out of a hat, and it was going to be The Last Jedi. So when Corey and Tom and I sit down to do that, let's see. I need to get asked those two, so thanks for reminding me of that, Blake. What do I think of Galaxy of Sounds? Galaxy of Sounds is amazing. It's amazing. I mean, you could just put it on in the background and just enjoy it, but Mason and I were riveted by it, and what did you think about it? I thought it was really cool. My thoughts on the new Boba Fett series coming soon. My thoughts are I'm super excited. Seeing that poster made me even more excited because it felt more like, even though it's not season 3 of The Mandalorian, it just felt like we're going to get more intense live action Star Wars on Disney Plus. So, and it's been too long. So I'm very excited about that. Very excited. Any new lightsaber purchases or new ones on the way? Well, not yet. I'm not going to be at Galaxy's Edge for a while, as far as I know. So I've definitely got the ones I have, but I keep saying it, but I've got to make videos to show you all these. Brian, thank you so much. I appreciate it. It was a really nice honor. I'm really glad to share with my family. It was awesome. Do I play Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes? I do not. I know Tom Gross does. I think Mason has played it before too. I have not played it. Do you play it, Amber? I've heard nothing but cool things about it. Jason, is the significance of the teapot or the cloak removal of the bandit leader in the duel addressed in the latest Coffee with Kenobi episode? I haven't listened to it yet. I'm really intrigued by these things in the Visions episodes. You mean as far as my conversation with Emma? You know, that's a good question. I guess you're going to have to wait to find out, but I think you're really going to like the book. I think you're going to like the book. I think the tea kettle thing is just a classic plot device, so much so. But other questions are just good. Just good. Again, I'm trying to be really respectful of Emma and Del Rey and everything. So be sure to check out the book because you're going to love it, Jason. You're going to love it. Amber says Galaxy of Heroes is so much fun. Well, I'm glad to hear that. I figured that it was. Speaking of so much fun, it's so much fun to spend every Monday night with each and every one of you. We had a big show. We talked about top 5 favorite moments from the Duel. We looked at some cool new books and things going on in the Disney Wish. Talked again about the experience that's going to be going on the Halcyon together, all of us. in the summer of 2023. You've got 2 years to save up. I hope that you're able to do that and join us because it's going to be a lot of fun. As soon as I get dates, I will let you know. Next week, we'll be talking about Tatooine Rhapsody, so be sure to rewatch that one. Mason is very excited about the Star Wars Character Encyclopedia. Well, good. You should ask your dad to get you one, buddy, because I think you'll really like it. I think you will. Mary, have a wonderful weekend as well. Minta, again, congratulations on your nuptials. Very good. Congratulations to you and your husband, Terry. It's a wonderful time to be a Star Wars fan. Happy week to all of you. Nick, thanks so much. I appreciate the congratulations, and I hope you have a wonderful week, my friend. Jason, have a great night. Everyone, it was fun to be with you all. May the Force be with you. LJ, get that top 5 ready for next week, buddy. Blake says, love my CWK family and you, Dan. You all make this the best Star Wars community on the web. Love you guys. Thanks so much, Blake. Really appreciate it. Thanks for all that you do for us as well. Minta, may the Force be with you. Chloe says, I always have so much fun when I'm able to hang out with my CWK friends. Have a great week. Elizabeth says, hey, Elizabeth. She says, join the Patreon. That's right. Join the Patreon. That would be it. Be sure to join the CWK Cafe for exclusive information and podcast and video not found anywhere else. This week we have a Corey Club Spotlight Show. Last week we had a Tom Gross Spotlight Show. Well, the Corey Club Spotlight Show, Tom wrote questions for Corey that he didn't know about. And then for the Tom Gross one, Corey wrote questions for Tom. We had a lot of fun doing that. This is actually a picture from Celebration Chicago in 2019. We will see you next time. Have a great week and weekend. And remember, this is the live podcast you were looking for. Thanks so much. See you next time.
This podcast is not endorsed by the Walt Disney Company or Lucasfilm Limited. It is intended for entertainment and informational purposes only. The official Star Wars website can be found at www.starwars.com. Star Wars, all names, sounds, and any other Star Wars related items are registered trademarks and or copyrights of Disney and their respective trademark and copyright holders. All original content of this podcast is the intellectual property of Coffee with Kenobi unless otherwise indicated.
This is the podcast you're looking for.
There's no one here.